that I will take as the CS is to make sure that we digitize this particular process, so that then it becomes easier to control, it becomes easier also to track, and it also becomes easier to know those people who have applied for licenses. Because within the process, if it is manual, you could have a situation where one applies a license, they stay for 5 years, another one applies in 3 months, and they are licensed. So I think this is what I plan to do, to be able to address the issues of corruption. I also want to say that this event in May 2022, where Honorable has mentioned that there were residents who had not been compensated. Let me say that in the entire, it's not just a one-off. I think we've had quite a number of issues with relocations and compensation, and these are issues that we will need to deal with them in the law. Because as you already know, Best Titanium is one of the big companies that has invested. But as a country, we have not had an enabling legislation. The legislation that we have is the one that was done in 2016. Before that, we had one that was done in 1940. So in between, I think it will be important for my ministry to work with the National Assembly so that we are able to have a legislation which can guarantee the rights of citizens so that they are not exploited by investors. And as a government, we need to rise to the occasion so that we have proper regulations on compensation. The other question by Honorable Ichungwa on exploitation of fish in the high seas. Let me say that as a country, we have an opportunity. If you look at the entire blue economy and marine fisheries, aquatic fisheries, we have an opportunity now to make sure that we bring synergy and we also bring sanity in the area of fishing. Most of our fishermen who go to the exclusive economic zone, they have had these challenges where the other international trawlers come and they steal our fish. I think, Honorable Chairman, it will be our responsibility as a ministry to make sure that we work with security agencies to protect these areas. As it is now, I think we have quite a number of issues in the EEZ, and these issues will only be dealt with if we have synergy with the other ministries, Interior and Defense, to make sure that we secure this zone. Because in this zone, we can easily triple our income. In fact, if we are able to invest in supporting our local fishermen, if we are able to support other investors in this region, we can actually raise the income from 27 billion to around 150 or even 300 billion in the EEZ, the exclusive economic zone. The other part of that question was personal from Honorable Ichungwa. Indeed, yes, in my term as a governor, I had loans which I paid and concluded with the various banks, and therefore, as I concluded my term, I didn't have any loan with anybody. The other question from Honorable Opio Wandai on renewal of license. I think, Mheshimiwa, that should be a wrong accusation. I did not participate in any way in renewing the license for Best Titanium. In fact, if you followed the discussions, I think we have been very emphatic in terms of a public participation process where wananchi will be involved, where county government will be involved in the renewal. And I think in most cases we have seen gaps and we raised them. So I want to confirm that I'm not party to this special.
Point of clarification.
Yes, on that.
I didn't imply that you did the renewal, because that wasn't your role at all.
Yeah, but facilitating.
The acquisition.
On cooperatives has talked a lot about the Hustler Fund. So I think this is one area that we would wish to provide leadership in the fishery sector to put together fishermen so that they can be able to get loans and any other facilities that they could have. And also in the other inland fisheries, like in Lake Turkana, which would be of interest, I want to say that right now we have an opportunity. We have a good market for mango tilapia, and I think they will also benefit from a lot of storage so that they can make that industry a 2 billion income facility in Lake Turkana. That notwithstanding, Mheshimiwa, is the issue of restocking, which I think the fisheries team have been working on, and that is why we have centers of excellence in Kisumu so that we can improve the aquaculture in that area. The other question from Mheshimiwa Junet related to gold mining in Migori. And I want to combine this with the other areas that have deposits of gold, I think Kakamega and other areas. Right now, Kenyans are not benefiting from this gold because, one, that gold has not been quantified. Secondly, that gold has not been checked in terms of quality. Secondly, we have a lot of artisanal miners who don't have the skills. I think we've seen even in other areas where we have had deaths. So I think what we plan to do in this area, first of all, Honorable Chairman, this is an area where government has to come in. We can't have a situation where we don't have data, where investors are the ones who are telling us how much gold. So I think the first thing that we will do now for entirely all the minerals in Kenya, we will have a geological survey, which I think there's a process which has already begun, and that process has to be concluded so that we can know which is where. Then we can do ground truthing to confirm the quantities. And in this area, Honorable Chairman, the ministry will need the support of this House so that we have a lot of budget to make sure that we have a lab which can function. The one we have here in Madini House does not have equipment to even know the quality of gold that is produced in those areas. Then secondly, we need to invest in processing, so that we are able now to help the people of Migori to benefit from the gold that they have. And I think it is possible to have a functional processing facility. I think Ghana have done it. There is no way Kenya can fail to do it. I think if we put our efforts together, we can improve our capacity in mineral processing. Mheshimiwa Owen Baya has raised an issue about the statutes and the fishing nets. I think we have a law, a fisheries management law, which was passed in 2016. Honorable Chairman, it will be important for the ministry to work with the National Assembly to provide the necessary regulations, because currently we don't have regulations. Even in licensing, we are losing a lot of money because there are no regulations that have been done to operationalize this law. So I think the first thing we will need to do is to come back to this House so that we can do the regulations, and those regulations then, I'm sure a honorable member will have a lot of public participation so that these regulations are favorable to the artisanal fishermen. The other thing we want to do, or once approved by this House, we can do in your area and many others, is to make sure that we position strategic areas where we will have collection points, well equipped with storage with ice, so that then fishermen do not have to sell on the same day. Fishermen can be able to have a negotiating power. Currently, if you get fish around 8 a.m., if you can't sell by 2 p.m., then you are at the risk. So I think that contributes to a lot of losses. So I think one of the things that we can work together with this House is to make sure that we actualize the landing sites in the various areas that have been suggested. The other issue from Mheshimiwa Owen is the issue of 10 billion, which was launched by the former president. I think it will be of my interest, once I'm through with this process, to work with the leaders in that area to make sure that this money can be able to benefit the right people. Mheshimiwa Opio, there's a question on the labs. My first assignment after swearing would be to make sure that the lab in Kisumu is functional, the lab in here Nairobi is functional, and the lab in Mombasa. If we don't have functional laboratories, then we cannot talk about fisheries as a serious venture. So I think this is an area that we can still work together and achieve a lot. Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you, Salim. Next, Daud. Acha nianze na Mama Mishi. Mama Mishi, Daud, Kosing,